Hey guys, welcome back. This is Mike from Digital Offensive, and today I have a treat for you. Recently, I got together with my good friends Chris from dgtsec.com, and we did some brainstorming around some video content and what we want to get out to the community. The idea, it's a question we get asked a lot. A lot of people come to us and ask us, how do you get into information security? How do we get into information security? How can they get into information security? And what steps should they do to get into this program? In this video, we're going to talk about some of the basics about getting into information security. We're going to talk about our backgrounds, what we did, what worked for us. We're going to tell you our thoughts on degrees and certifications. We're going to provide you some resources that's available to you, both paid and free, and how you can use those resources to basically educate yourself and help launch your career into information security. And then we're going to talk about different paths to information security. A lot of people that we talk to are really interested in red teaming, pen testing, but they really don't understand all the other paths that are available to them within information security. This is part one of our video series. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to our channels. I'll link Chris's channel below. If you'd like to see any certain topic on getting into information security, make sure that you comment below so we know. And then make sure you give it a big thumbs up. So without any further ado, let's get into our talk.
I'm here with Michael Lasalvia, and we've actually met, I guess we've met on the OSCP Facebook group, yeah. I believe. Yeah, and we decided to actually start, or just at least have a discussion and go over multiple topics that are being asked, like hundreds of times, not only on the Facebook group, but also on Discord, about how to start in InfoSec and cybersecurity, how to actually get training, what certifications to get, and all that stuff, what paths to follow. So we've decided to actually make at least one discussion in which we try to tackle all of these subjects. So without wasting too much time here, let's actually introduce ourselves. So I'll actually let Michael start because he's got more experience in this than me.
All right, excellent. Thanks, Chris. As Chris said, yeah, we met a while back on the OSCP forums. Been keeping in touch, and actually got to meet up in New York City with him, which was awesome. Not often do we get to do that in real life type meetups, so that was pretty cool. As far as myself, I've been in information security now for, I don't know, I want to say close to 20 years, give or take. Started off in general operations, doing firewalls, IPS, IDS type stuff, incident response, things like that. And I worked myself up over the years into red teaming and pen testing, as well as doing some management. So I've seen a wide range over the last few years of different aspects and roles within the industry, and had a lot of opportunity to dabble in many of them during my career path so far. All right, Chris.
Oh, yeah. So you've actually got like tremendous experience here. Okay, well, I want to ask a couple of questions, but before that, let me just also introduce myself. So yeah. I'm like more fresh to cybersecurity and the field. I could say that I have slightly less than 2 years experience working in the field. I just I didn't take a like formal educational career path in this. I just start teaching myself this stuff a couple of years ago, and then a few months ago I decided to take the OSCP, and now I have the OSCP. So I've been working mostly in penetration testing for the past 2 years, and right now, or most recently, I've also started doing bug hunting, which seems to be really interesting and engaging, yep. Even though it actually, I don't know, it's really frustrating because as a beginner, it takes a lot of time until you find something. So
Right.
it's frustrating, and you have to deal with it. Yeah.
Well, you made a good point about being new into this and being really self-taught. I've known a lot of people over the last few years. Like myself, I went through school, right? I started off in hotel restaurant management, realized that's not where I wanted to be. I got into information security. Well, actually, back then it was just information science with a concentration in networking, and then eventually they had security classes down the road. But I have a lot of friends who kind of went the same path as you. They have no formal education. They basically have that mindset where they want to know, they like to dabble, and they really dug in themselves to really understand how to get into this field and where to go from there. I have a buddy that's now a CISO of a bank. He went to school to be a marketing major, so really no IT work at all. And I have another buddy who barely made it through high school. He actually dropped out of high school at one point, and now he is a senior blue team member of a large pharmaceutical company, and many people look up to him, come to him for the answers. So it's
Yeah,
a good
well,
point.
it's not actually that this is something laudable or that I encourage this stuff. Like people just to leave their education and everything and just start teaching themselves stuff. No, in fact, even though me and many others, like loads of other people, have started like this unconventional road, I believe that nowadays we have more and more cybersecurity formal degrees, which would be worth in my view. So if I were to actually have a university degree, to start a university degree right now, I would actually also take a formal path, like a cybersecurity degree, because not necessarily because of the information that I get from that degree, but more so because of the people that I get to interact with. Because I would be spending a lot of time with like-minded people, which I would say is really beneficial in terms of a network perspective. So, like
Yes.
a real-life networking perspective, um, which is something that if you're behind the screen, it kind of rarely happens. I mean, most of us spend a lot of time like on our laptops doing stuff by ourselves.
Right.
From a social perspective, maybe that's not what a lot of us want, or what is beneficial to a lot of us in terms of building a career over the short and the long term.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely suggest if you have the opportunity to do a official educational path, be it college, be it any other formal training, I would definitely suggest doing it. It's not only that you get that networking experience, but you also get that. It's kind of like that footstep into the door. HR people are always looking for those key words, so that's a little easier step to get in the door. Along the aspect of networking, one of the things I like here in the U.S., and I'm not sure if they do overseas anywhere, but a lot of the schools here in the U.S. now offer what they call the Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition, which allows kids who are interested in our fields, be it blue teaming, be it red teaming, whatever your interest is, to actually participate in these activities and get hands-on real-world knowledge and then meet industry leaders. So we get large companies like Boeing and Raytheon and other large companies to these events that get to see these kids, and basically those are their first connections with these large companies. So it's a great learning experience that a lot of the schools locally here in the U.S. have that opportunity to do, and something would be great if people overseas are able to implement those as well. I'm not sure what exists over there. I haven't really investigated that, but just building on that whole networking concept of going through some formal program.
Yeah, so I think the field is there. I mean, it's not like there's a big divide between the UE, the European Union, and the United States. I think we're kind of, I mean, on similar pages, maybe not on the same pace, not at the same pace, but we're kind of like following each other. So it would be better if children are being exposed to this, like from a formal perspective, instead of getting in trouble.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe paying lawfully for wrongdoing, instead of just, I don't know, getting like more formal or legal type education. But of course, we do that in the platforms that we have like nowadays, such as where we can like hack stuff legally on Hack the Box and Volnhub. These platforms weren't available like 10 years ago, so
Yeah.
it's a really big opportunity for everyone, not only for the youngsters, but also for everyone who wants to learn something.
Yeah.
The only requirement is you have to put in the work.
Exactly, and that's the biggest thing. Anything in our careers, be it any aspect of any security field or any IT field, so you really got to put the work in yourself too. Too often, we see it all the time on the OSCP forums. We see it on the OSCP Facebook page and stuff like that. Too many times we get people just asking for the answers. You really got to take
That's not the hacker mindset.
Yeah, it's definitely not the hacker mindset. And I like to tell people when I'm interviewing them, I can teach you whatever tool you want to learn, but I can't teach you the mindset. If you don't have that mindset, you're not going to be able to really make it that far in our industry. You'll be able to do the basics. You'll probably get through things, but you're not going to have that enjoyment, that fulfillment out of your career without having that mindset to really want to dig in deeper. So if I was to give anyone any type of comments, criticism, things like that moving forward, is really take that time to dig in and learn things. If you don't understand what you're looking at, you don't understand the solution to the problem, research it, dig in. When you exhausted all options, then definitely reach out and ask for help. People in our industry are more than willing to always help, but we kind of expect that you've done some initial troubleshooting yourself, some initial research yourself. And then you mentioned stuff about like Hack the Box and stuff like that. As Chris said, back in the day, we really had those options. A lot of times back in the day, we're setting up our own labs in our house. I remember being in my first apartment in college with like 8 computers set up just so I could have different machines to attack, because there really wasn't virtual solutions back then. I remember constantly blowing the circuits in the house because there was too much power being drawn. A lot of crazy things. And then I'm kind of looking at my office now. I'm like, even though I still have like 4 computers, I'm really just using my one machine with like 20 VMs running on it with no problem. So things have definitely improved greatly, that a lot of people in our field now have a lot more opportunities than those before us had.
Of course, yeah. So this is one of the major benefits of technology nowadays. Even though technology might have some drawbacks in terms of other aspects of our lives, I think there are multiple benefits from technology that we should acknowledge.
Yeah.
On the point of cybersecurity formal degrees, I would have to add that the only impediment or the only drawback for someone not getting, if they have the opportunity, for not getting a degree in cybersecurity would be the costs.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have to pay for it, like if you have to pay, I don't know, maybe 50 to 100K a year, that would be a lot. So in that case, teaching yourself stuff and doing certifications online, which in many circumstances may be more worth than a formal education of 4 years, where after you're graduating you don't know how to like run an Nmap scan. It's like it wouldn't be worth in that case. So I want to actually move to our next topic for today. Actually, like we want to be super practical here. So if you are new to the field, or if you want to get into cybersecurity, many of you ask us the question of how to get started, and if you need a certification or not to get a job. So in terms of how to get started, let's talk about our recommended resources for this. So I'll let you start with this, Mike.
All right, excellent. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about schooling things already. We mentioned a couple of free resources that are out there, like Hack the Box, Volnhub, things like that. But some other items out there, there's definitely always Cybrary is a great resource out there nowadays. A lot of free videos on Cybrary. Some of them are paid, some are not. One of my favorite, to be honest, is Georgia Weedman did one on advanced pen testing.
That's a course.
Yeah, it's a course on Cybrary that's free. It literally takes you. It's almost like a duplication of the OCP material. It literally takes you through each chapter almost identical. It's kind of a little scary, but it's really closely related and very good flow of data there. Easy to follow. Some downsides with any of these courses out there that we see, right, is technology changes daily. Some of the stuff you may see in a course that was written 3 months ago may no longer work. I have a feeling down the road you're going to start seeing that with some of your Python stuff, going from Python 2 to Python 3 in the industry. I know a lot of my favorite tools are no longer working. So we're seeing a migration. So things need to change and adapt. So as you look at these resources we're going through, just keep that in your head. You're going to have to adapt and figure out how to fix them. Some other courses I have looked at over time, like InfoSec Addicts, was a couple of courses I did on there with Joe McRae. It's hit or miss with some of his content, but if you're looking for some low-cost solutions to really get yourself started, kind of get some networking going, you can check out some of his classes. We talked about, I can't stop saying enough good things about Hack the Box. For what is like 140 US, I'm not sure what it translates differently to any other formats, but about $140 a year for the US. You get a VIP account. You get access to all those past boxes and all the new ones. You can check out a lot of videos by IPSec, myself, and other people who have done write-ups. They're all over the internet. So if you get stuck on a box, it's great to have that ability to look up a write-up. But I would suggest that you kind of save that time and try yourself first, and then look at the write-up if you get stuck there and you can't move forward. Books. There's countless books out there. We can go do a whole video about just books and things like that. Some of my favorites have been The Hacker's Playbook has been a really good book of mine. The Red Team Field Manual. I know a lot of people like to just download these books without buying them. Personally, support those authors. They're doing this hard work to kind of get this information out to you guys. The books
takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it does. Yes. Multiple edits, multiple time away from your family, things like that. So it takes a lot of effort. The books are fairly cheap, so definitely go out and look at getting them. With some other things, higher end things you can look at is SANS training. SANS is very well known here in the States and definitely overseas too. They do conferences over there all the time, and it really depends what you want to be doing. And we'll get into that next about like career paths and things all of that nature. But those are some of the keys that I've taken away for things that are available to me. One of my biggest things I like to do is I volunteer, as I mentioned earlier, with the Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. You always should look at a way to give back, right? We learn a lot. We're a huge community. We're constantly sharing data amongst everyone, meeting people like Chris, meeting other people out there. We are constantly collaborating and getting data out. But what are you doing to give back to the industry, help others to basically get into the industry? And that's one of the things I mentioned about the Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. So if you have that availability, that's another great resource to check out, at least here in the U.S. right now. And then, Chris, you have any other ones you want to cover there?
Well, yeah, so just to reiterate, I haven't been doing too much Hack the Box recently because I'm training on other platforms, and I'm also doing bug bounties, so that's like real life training.
Sure.
So one platform that I want to mention is Attack Defense Labs, and even though they have just a few from what I've learned, just a few free challenges. Most of them, I mean, are come with the paid membership, and the paid membership is actually around $35-40 a month, which is really worth because they have like 1,200 challenges and attack scenarios divided into multiple categories. And I think I've actually talked about the platform itself in some of my videos, but I've actually done like walkthroughs for challenges from the platform on some of the videos on my channel. So definitely check that out if you have some money to invest and you want to like Hack the Box is 10 euros or $15 a month. This is like 2 or 3 times as much, but I was kind of skeptical at first before paying this money, but then I'm actually paying it every month because I find a lot of value in their stuff, and also because they have so as far with their current like strategy, I think it's worth for me to invest like $35 in them because they also have more than a dozen courses, video courses that are attached to some of these challenges. So you can take the courses from the Pentester Academy, and then some of the courses have the challenges on attack defense labs.
Nice.
So that's definitely a platform that worth mentioning. There's also TryHackMe, which is similar to Hack the Box, VulnHub, of course, and there was one rootme.org. But I guess we'll provide links to some of these platforms in the description. Now, in terms of books, one of my favorite right now is the Web Application Hacker's Handbook, which I haven't gone through the entire of it just yet. And there's another book, let me see, what's it called? Of course, there's Peter Jaworski's book, Real World Bug Hunting from 2019. And there's also a book by Carlos Lozano, which is called Bug Bounty Hunting Essentials. So it's clearly these resources are geared towards bug hunting. This is stuff that I'm doing right now.
Nice.
So I think these would be it.
Yeah, you mentioned cost too, and I mentioned cost in a few things now too. And I know a lot of people complain about paying money for things and not having money for things. Everyone comes from a different background and financial stance. One of my things is if you're paying $35 a month, think about what other things you're spending money on so quickly. You eat out once or twice at McDonald's or any other restaurant, you're blowing $15, give or take here and there. If you have any type of addictions to like cigarettes, alcohol, things like that, you're spending money. It's a matter of just really thinking about how you want to invest your money and moving forward that way. My wife asked me a couple of times, like when I spent money for the OSP, she's like, that's like $1,500. I'm like, it's a small investment in myself. It's a couple of times I don't go out to dinner. It's a couple of times I don't do something else, or I don't buy a different toy this month or something like that. This type of money that you invest in yourself is only going to better yourself down the road and allow you to make possibly more money. So
of course, yeah. So this is actually a beneficial investment. So
right.
Okay, let's actually move into our last point for today and discuss about. So if you've started like working yourself through these resources, you kind of start having an idea of what type of path you would like to follow. What type of like career path? Because I mean, cybersecurity is a very large field nowadays, and there are many like avenues that you could get into. So, Go ahead.
Yeah. So one of the things we talked about when we were getting into this section is just some different career paths, and a lot of times what we see, especially in those OSP chat rooms, because it's geared towards pen testing. A lot of people want to get into pen testing. A lot of people want to get into red teaming. But there's so many other field opportunities within information security. I think a lot of like glam and Hollywood has been put around the whole field of pen testing and red teaming that we're seeing such a large push towards that. And in reality, it's not always that much glam. I'll tell you from doing this day to day, I don't know, let's say I do about between 3 to 7 web applications a week, give or take, whatever my job looks like for the week. You follow the same methodology over and over and over. Let's say you have a checklist of 130 checks. You're doing those 130 checks every single test. It becomes really monotonous. You're basically constantly redoing it over and over and over. where things kind of get boring over time. A lot of the pen testers will eventually burn out. Those that make it in the industry for a long time, they usually work careers or jobs where they are able to really expand, dig deeper. And that's one of the cool things about where I'm at currently. Not only am I doing those tasks, but I'm also getting to do more advanced stuff as well, where I'm able to dig deeper into these applications and try to exploit them further. So that's what keeps my interest. But that's something you need to think about when you're looking at any career within our field is, are you willing to do that day in, day out? Do you have that passion to be doing that? So some of the things we wrote down here is, of course, pen testing, right? Pen testing is a wide blanket name for numerous avenues of testing, application, mobile, network, and things like that. We have red teaming nowadays where we're looking at insider threats. Are you basically able to act as an insider attacker using, not really using any tools, like not using Metasploit, things like that. You're trying to really manipulate the systems as a normal user would or insider threat. And it's definitely more advanced than that, but keeping it a little simple there. We have blue teaming. So basically, blue teaming is what used to be incident response and forensics. Those guys are kind of getting together, working together. And now you're starting to see red teams merging in there, creating what's called purple teaming, where you get red and blue mixing together, working together. Then you
all
have
the colors of the rainbow.
Yeah, basically it's all over the place. I actually had a guy send me a resume the other day that said he ran orange teaming. And I was like, what the heck is orange team? So, of course, I run out to Google and type that in and can't find anything on this. So during the interview, I was like, can you explain to me what orange teaming is? And he's like, well, that's when you get the sea level come in. I was like, I've never heard this before. I couldn't find it in Google. So I think you have just coined that term. So I was like, congratulations. Yeah. But then we have like OPSEC stuff, right? So there's people that start off, like I kind of started off in this area myself. I started off with firewalls, IPS. I think it's really important to start somewhere in the industry where you're going to build up that base knowledge, because pen testing, red teaming, blue teaming, all that, it really requires you to have a solid knowledge of the technology below it. If you don't know how the IPS works, the firewall works, how all these other tools, how the operating system works, really makes pen testing and red teaming really hard to do, because you're kind of overlooking it. You kind of rely on the tools to do the work for you, not really understanding how those other areas tie into. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a combination of automated and manual. Automated gets you a lot of ground covered, very broadly speaking. When and if you get something from automated scans, then you have to like double check it manually, not double check it, but check it in more detail manually. And even like pivot from that point, because automated scanning, for example, or automated tools could get like point to something, and when you check it manually, you get to find another vulnerability. So it's like it's a combination. It's always a combination, and as you said, you have to have that ground knowledge on network, on firewalls, on different content management systems. If you're testing web applications, on how they talk to each other, all that stuff. So of course you actually build that in through time. It's not like you learn everything at the same time and you learn it at once. You build that knowledge base through time, and you're constantly developing it, because as you've said earlier, I mean, the information changes, the technology changes, it adapts, it gets like upgraded every day.
Right.
So you have to be really updated yourself with everything.
Definitely a good point. Just to reiterate for this section, is like really think about what you want to be doing out there. Don't let all the hype sell you on your career path. Let your career path be something that interests you. Definitely look into these other avenues, because you may be able, if you're new to the industry, you may be able to get a job easier as doing firewall work, IPS work, and work your way up from there than just trying to jump directly into pen testing. You may find that you get paid more as a firewall admin versus a junior pen tester. There's benefits and there's downsides of everything, and you really got to decide what's worth it to you and where you want to be and how you're going to build your career path moving forward.
Okay, so I guess this is kind of what we wanted to cover in today's discussion, and um, in future discussions, we'll get more in depth to many of these topics, especially in terms of how to actually start, like super practical tips on how to start. Also, how to like build a resume or put yourself out there to be like approached by recruiters, the types of HR filters that are that we can see are more like sought after right now. Um, and also the job platforms that give you the most bang for the buck. We'll also talk about certifications, the OSCP, and other certifications. I know you, Mike, have done quite a few certifications, and some that are more technical than the OSCP. So I'd like to know more about it, and not only me, but also those who watch us. And of course, we'll probably not only do like these discussions that are recorded, but we'll also probably do live walkthroughs and challenge videos on the, I don't know, on these platforms that we discussed in this video. So maybe not only, maybe we could also do some coding challenges with Python. Since we know that Python is a very used tool for penetration testing and for bug hunting, depending. I mean, it's a tool for whatever purpose you can have. So
that's just so you can own me.
Yeah. So you'll find a link to a lot of the stuff that we've. You'll find links to a lot of the stuff that we've discussed in the description of this video, and also links to our contacts.
Yeah, definitely. And also, if you guys like these videos, let us know. Comment below what you're interested in. If we hit on a topic during this video that of more interest to you and you want to learn more about it, feel free to let us know below. It'll be out on Chris's channel as well as my channel, so feel free to reach out to us.
Of course, and give us or let us know in the comments what other questions you'd like us to tackle, because this is like, as you said, this is one of our ways to actually give back. So with my little experience and with your like tremendous experience in the field, I'm really sure that we have at least an answer to all of your questions. So definitely leave them in the comments below.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so with that, we'll say over and out.
All right, thanks a lot, and talk to you guys later.